After months of countless candidate visits and campaign ads, voters in New Hampshire are finally casting ballots.
Yeah, and it seems undecided voters are going to play a huge role in tonight's outcome. Ryan Noble's live in Manchester with more on how the candidates made their case to those who waited until the last minute to make up their minds. Ryan.
Yeah, Steve and Ursula, and there are a lot of those voters, I should say, who waited until the last minute. In fact, our early exit poll results that we're just getting in the last hour or so say that as many as 46% of Republican voters didn't decide until the last 2 days. And now we have less than an hour before the polls close, and it's clear that voters here in New Hampshire like to wait until the last minute.
Look forward to seeing you Monday evening. Very good.
There is perhaps no state in America where citizens get more exposure to the candidates for president than New Hampshire.
Here in New Hampshire, I think we all feel entitled to face contact with anyone who's even thinking about being president.
Thanks, guys.
And voters here have had plenty of opportunities for just that. Many of the candidates have held dozens of town halls over the past few months, hoping for the one personal interaction that can lead to locking up a voter's support.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
A job that continued right up until the last minute.
With a mad dash in the last 24 hours, candidates sprinkled across New Hampshire, packing crowds into small coffee houses like this, hoping to get those final undecided votes.
At a Chris Christie event in Hampstead, Jim Garchick is among those still weighing his options.
For me, the three candidates that I'm seriously still considering, Rubio, Christie, and Kasich, I like them all.
Garchick likes what he's heard from Christie, but what he really wants is to back a winner.
Do you want to be on the side of the person that wins? Is that important to you at all?
It is, and that's the one thing that is the one thing that gives me pause.
And Garchick's deliberation is very similar to many of his fellow Granite Staters, a state that prides itself on making sure the candidate they pick is the one best positioned to become the next president.
If you've already made up your mind, people are like, what do you mean you've already made up your mind? You know, like, are you sure you've already made up your mind?
But with voting underway, time's up for New Hampshire voters to make up their minds.
And that clock is really ticking now. As I said before, less than an hour before most of the polls here in New Hampshire close. We should get an idea of who the winner here is much quicker than we did a week ago in Iowa. Keep in mind that the polls here close 2 hours before the Iowa caucus even begins. Steve and Ursula?
Ryan, I used to live up in northern New England, and I know that some of the primary results are already in from a few of those small towns that hold that midnight vote. I know they're small numbers, but what was the outcome there, and do those results really predict anything?
Yeah, well, you know, there's a couple of towns that vote right at the stroke of midnight, but the one that gets all the attention is Dixville Notch, which is in the far reaches of northern New Hampshire. And, you know, there are 9 registered voters there, and sometimes the Dixville Notch vote gives us some idea of what's going to happen in the final result. Sometimes they don't. But usually what we find is the candidates that take the time to kind of press the flesh in Dixville Notch end up doing well. And this year, John Kasich actually personally reached out to all 9 of those registered voters. He's the one who ended up winning Dixville Notch. Maybe that's not going to show us that he'll end up winning here in New Hampshire, but what it does tell us is that if you put in the time and you shake a lot of hands and you do the town halls, that usually helps you here in New Hampshire.
Retail campaigning. Ryan Nobles live from New Hampshire. Thanks, Ryan. We'll see you later.